Kang Wu walked into the council chamber with steady steps. His black uniform was clean and pressed. The human flag patch on his shoulder looked small among all the alien symbols around him. 300 years of service, and still they made him wait outside like a servant. The chamber was huge. Floating platforms held different alien species from across the galaxy. Each platform glowed with its own light. At the center sat Chancellor Vextai, his crystal body catching the light and throwing rainbows on the walls. The Nexus Prime leader looked down at Kang Wu like he was looking at dirt. Human ambassador. Vextai's voice rang through the chamber like breaking glass. You have kept us waiting. Kang Wu did not apologize. He had learned long ago that apologies only made these beings think humans were weak. I came when called, Chancellor. Around the circle, other council members shifted on their platforms. The insect-like Mantari clicked their mandibles. The gas cloud nebuloids swirled faster. The lizard draconians hissed softly. All of them watched Kang Wu with eyes that saw him as less than them. Councillor Thys, the lead Mantari, spoke next. Her voice buzzed like angry wasps. The council has reached a decision about the Kepler incident. Kang Wu kept his face blank. The Kepler incident. That was what they called it when human patrol ships had defended themselves against Zephyrian raiders. 30 human civilians had died in the attack. The human ships had fought back and destroyed the raider fleet. Now, the Zephyrians wanted payment for their dead pirates. The human colony on Kepler 442b will be transferred to Zephyrian control, Vextai announced. This will serve as compensation for Zephyrian losses. The words hit Kang Wu like a physical blow. Kepler 442b was home to 12 million humans. They had spent 50 years turning that dead rock into a garden world. Human families had lived and died there. Human children had been born under its twin suns. The colonists? Kang Wu asked quietly. Will relocate, Thys buzzed. The Zephyrians are generous. They will allow humans 30 standard days to remove personal items. Personal items. 50 years of work, and they could take personal items. Admiral. Zekmor of the Draconians laughed, a sound like rocks grinding together. Perhaps humans should have thought of consequences before attacking peaceful Zephyrian vessels. Kang Wu's hands stayed at his sides, but his fingers wanted to curl into fists. Peaceful vessels. The raiders had blown apart a civilian transport. Before the patrol ships even arrived. The council has spoken, Vextai said. Humans will comply. Around the chamber, alien heads nodded. Some looked bored, others seemed pleased. None looked like they cared that 12 million human lives were being thrown away. Kang Wu had served the council for 40 years. He had seen this before. Humans did the fighting when the council needed warriors. Humans did the building when the council needed engineers. Humans did the dying when the council needed sacrifices. But humans were never equal. They were tools. Useful tools, but still just tools. I understand the council's position, Kang Wu said slowly. Vextai's crystal form brightened. Good. We expect full compliance within... However, Kang Wu continued, I believe there has been a misunderstanding. The chamber fell quiet. Thys's antennae twitched. Misunderstanding? Kang Wu reached into his jacket and pulled out a small device. A communication pad. Nothing dangerous. Several council guards stepped forward anyway, their weapons powering up. You seem to think humans serve at your pleasure, Kang Wu said. He pressed a button on the device. Captain Li Bin, are you receiving? A voice crackled from the device. Young, crisp, military. I receive you, Ambassador. Awaiting orders. Vextai leaned forward. What is the meaning of this? Kang Wu looked up at the crystal being who had ruled the galaxy for 2 centuries. Captain Li Bin, initiate protocol exodus. All human personnel, civilian and military, are to withdraw from council space immediately. The chamber erupted. Aliens shouted in a dozen languages. Thys buzzed so loudly it hurt to hear. Zekmor roared something that might have been a curse. Confirmed, Ambassador, came Li Bin's voice through the noise. Protocol Exodus is now active. Estimated time for complete withdrawal, 72 hours. Vextai's voice cut through the chaos like a blade. Explain yourself, human. Kang Wu gathered up his papers and files. 3 centuries of reports, agreements, and service records. You have made your position clear, Chancellor. Humans exist to serve Council interests. We have no rights you need to respect. We are tools to be used and discarded. That is not, Thais began. It is exactly what you said, Kang Wu interrupted. Humans serve at your pleasure. We have no rights to refuse your orders. We exist for your benefit. He stood up straighter. But there is one thing you forgot. The chamber waited. Even the air seemed to hold its breath. Tools can be put away, Kang Wu said simply. Servants can quit. Councillor Hess, one of the nebuloid gas beings, swirled in confusion. You cannot simply leave. Watch us. Kang Wu turned toward the exit. Humanity formally withdraws from all Council treaties, agreements, and obligations. Effective immediately. You need us, Zekmor snarled. Where will you go? What will you do? Kang Wu paused at the chamber door. The same thing we did before. We met you, Admiral. We will survive. The question is, what will you do without us? Vextai's voice followed him. If you leave now, you can never return. The Council will not forget this insult. Chancellor, Kang Wu said without turning around, neither will we. The door closed behind him with a soft hiss. In the corridor outside, human security officers were already packing their equipment. They worked with calm efficiency, just like always. No panic, no shouting, just humans doing what needed to be done. Lieutenant Park Young saluted as Kang Wu passed. Sir, all human council staff have been notified. Evacuation transports are standing by. Good work, Lieutenant. Make sure everyone gets out safely. Yes, sir. What about our equipment, our offices? Kang Wu thought about that. Decades of human work in these buildings. Human technology, human records, human systems that kept the Council running. Take what belongs to us. Leave the rest. He walked toward his own office, listening to the growing chaos from the chamber. Behind him, through the walls, he could hear alien voices rising in panic and anger. They were just starting to understand what was happening. In his office, Kang Wu looked around at 40 years of service. Photos of human colonies he had helped establish, awards from grateful council members who had needed human help, trade agreements that had made everyone richer. He opened his desk drawer and took out one item, a small Earth flag his daughter had made for him when he first became an ambassador. Everything else could stay. Outside his window, he could see human ships beginning to lift off from the spaceport. Transport after transport, carrying humans away from Council space. Away from 3 centuries of service and sacrifice. Away from being tools in someone else's empire. His communication device buzzed. Ambassador, this is Captain Li Bin. The Council is trying to contact all human facilities. They want to talk. Kang Wu smiled for the first time in years. Let them talk to each other, Captain. We have work to do. As he walked out of his office for the last time, Kang Wu could hear alarms starting to sound throughout the Council complex. The aliens were finally realizing what they had lost. But that was no longer his problem. Captain Li Bin stood on the bridge of the human ship Defiance, watching the biggest evacuation in galactic history unfold before him. Screens showed hundreds of human ships across Council space, all moving at once. 300 years of human. Presence was ending in 72 hours. Status report, he called out. Lieutenant Kim Hai worked at her station, fingers flying over the controls. Sector 7 reports all civilian transports loaded and ready. Sector 12 is still evacuating the mining platforms. Sector 21. She paused. Sir, Sector 21 is reporting interference. Li Bin frowned. What kind of interference? Draconian. Ships, sir. They are trying to stop our transports from leaving. On the main screen, Admiral Zekmor's scaled face appeared. His yellow eyes burned with anger. Human vessels will halt immediately. The Council has not authorized this movement. Li Bin stepped forward. Admiral, we are conducting an orderly withdrawal from Council space. We have the right to leave. You have no rights, Zekmor roared. You are Council property. You will return to your stations immediately. Property. The word hung in the air like poison. Around the bridge, human officers exchanged glances. They had suspected it, but hearing it said out loud was different. Admiral, Li Bin said calmly, we are leaving. Do not interfere. Or what? Human? You will fight the entire council fleet? Bin smiled, but there was no humor in it. Admiral, look around you. On Zekmor's screen, the space around his ships began to fill with human vessels, not just transports and civilian ships, warships, battle cruisers, destroyers, ships that had fought for the Council for 3 centuries were now surrounding the Draconian fleet. Where did they come from? Zekmor whispered. We have been fighting your wars for 300 years, Admiral. Did you think we only had the ships you gave us? Bin leaned forward. Every human ship in Council space is now under my command. Every human soldier, every human officer, every human crew member, we are leaving together. The Draconian ships were outnumbered 10 to 1. Worse, they were outnumbered by ships and crews that knew every weakness in Council military technology. After all, humans had built most of it. This is impossible, Zekmor muttered. This is what happens when you treat allies like slaves, Bin replied. Stand down, Admiral. Let us leave in peace. For a long moment, nobody moved. Then, slowly, the Draconian ships powered down their weapons. Meanwhile, on Arcturus Station, Commander Park Sol was shutting down the most important trade hub in Council space. The massive station had been built by humans 50 years ago. It processed trade for 12 star systems and employed over 2 million beings. All human personnel report to evacuation zones, Park Sol announced over the station intercom. All others, please prepare for temporary shutdown of station services. Alien traders and officials crowded around her desk, all talking at once. You cannot shut down Arcturus, squealed a Centauri merchant. I have cargo worth millions. Where will we go? Asked a Nebuloid administrator. This station is the center of everything. Park Sol continued typing at her console, methodically shutting down system after system. The station will remain structurally sound. All life support will continue functioning. However, all human-operated systems will be deactivated. What does that mean? Demanded a Mantari overseer. Park Sol looked up from her work. It means the station will become a very large, very empty shell. No cargo handling, no communications, no navigation control, no maintenance, no security. She stood up. We built this station. We run this station. When we leave, it stops working. The Yao crowd fell silent as the truth hit them. They had never learned how anything worked. They had just assumed humans would always be there to make everything run. Across the station, human workers were following the same pattern. Chief Engineer Kim Rio walked through the power core facility, checking off items on his list. Every piece of human-designed equipment was being either removed or disabled. Nothing dangerous. The aliens would not die. But nothing would work either. Sir? Asked Engineer Yoon Mi. What about the backup systems? Kim Rio smiled grimly. What backup? Systems? We are the backup systems. In the medical bay, Dr. Yoon Hana was packing up 3 centuries of human medical research. Her alien colleagues watched in growing panic. You cannot take those files, protested Dr. Klex, a spider-like Arachnian. Those contain treatments for diseases across the galaxy. These contain human research, Yoon Hana corrected. Research we developed, tested, and perfected. Research we shared freely with the Council for 300 years. But what about the sick? What about future outbreaks? Yoon Hana paused in her packing. For a moment, her professional compassion warred with her anger. Then she remembered the words of Counselor Thys. Humans serve at our pleasure. Dr. Klex, she said quietly, you have had 300 years to learn our methods. You chose not to. You preferred to let humans do the work while you took the credit. She sealed the last container. The Council wanted servants. They never wanted partners. Partners share knowledge. Servants just follow orders. As she walked toward the evacuation shuttle, carrying centuries of human medical knowledge with her, alien doctors called after her, pleading, promising, threatening. But she did not turn back. The pattern repeated across the galaxy. On mining worlds, human engineers shut down extraction equipment that only they knew how to operate. On agricultural planets, human farmers destroyed crop management systems that they had designed. On military bases, human support staff removed maintenance protocols that kept alien ships flying. Counselor Hess tried to contact the human embassy on Nexus Prime, but found it empty. The building still stood, but every piece of human technology was gone. Every file, every computer, every communication device. Even the furniture had been removed. In desperation, the gas being tried to access the building's systems, only to discover that humans had designed and maintained those too. Without human technicians, the embassy was just an empty shell. Back on the council homeworld, Chancellor Vex Tai called an emergency session. The chamber filled with panicked alien voices. "They are taking everything," buzzed Thas. "Our entire infrastructure is failing." "How many humans were there?" asked Admiral Zekmore, his earlier confidence gone. Analyst Wexter, a pale, thin being from the outer rim, consulted his datapad with shaking hands. "According to our records, humans comprised approximately 12% of the total council population." 12%? Vexatai repeated. "How can 12% cause this much damage?" Wexeter's voice was barely a whisper. "Sir, they may have been 12% of the population, but our preliminary analysis suggests they handled approximately 67% of critical infrastructure roles." The chamber fell silent. 67%, Thais repeated slowly. "And rising, sir. We are still discovering human involvement in systems we thought were automated." Wexter looked up from his pad. "Sir, I do not think any council system operates without some human involvement. On his command ship, Captain Li Bin received reports from across the galaxy. Human evacuation was proceeding smoothly. Too smoothly. The aliens were not stopping them anymore. They were too busy trying to figure out how to keep their civilization from falling apart. "Captain," called Communications Officer Han Su, "we are receiving a priority message from the Council. Chancellor Vextai wants to negotiate." Li Bin considered this. "Put him through." Vextai's crystal form appeared on the screen, but the proud leader looked dimmer than before. "Captain Li Bin, we need to talk." "I am listening, Chancellor. This withdrawal is causing significant disruption. Perhaps we can reach an accommodation." "What kind of accommodation?" Vexatai hesitated. "The Council is prepared to offer humans improved status, better representation, more autonomy." Li Bin was quiet for a long moment. Around the bridge, his officers waited. "Chancellor," he said finally, 6 hours ago, your council told us we were property, that we had no rights, that we existed only to serve your pleasure." He leaned forward. "Now you want to negotiate?" "The situation has changed." "Yes," Li Bin agreed. "It has. The question is, changed how much?" But Vexatai had no answer for that. In 72 hours, the galaxy was going to find out just how much humans had really been doing. And the Council was beginning to suspect it was more than they could survive without. 3 weeks had passed since the humans left. Chancellor Vextai stood in his private chamber looking at reports that made his crystal body dim with worry. Every day brought new disasters. Every hour brought new problems that nobody knew how to fix. The first major failure happened on Kepler 442b, the world the Council had demanded from humanity. Commander Jexal of the Zephyrian Empire stood in what used to be the capital city's central plaza. Around him, his soldiers coughed and wheezed in the poisonous air. "Sir," called Lieutenant Mextar through his breathing mask. "The atmospheric processors are failing faster than our engineers can repair them." Jexal looked up at the sky, which was turning an ugly yellow color. "How long before the air becomes toxic?" "It already is toxic, sir. We can only breathe with these masks. The human colonists had some kind of treatment system that kept the air clean. Find it. Fix it." "Sir, we have tried. The human engineers took all their equipment when they left. Our people cannot understand how their machines worked." A storm was building on the horizon. Not a normal storm, a chemical storm that would strip paint from buildings and burn any living thing caught in it. The human settlers had lived here for 50 years without worry. They had tamed this world, made it safe, made it home. Now, 3 weeks after the Zephyrians claimed it as their prize, the planet was trying to kill them. "Sir," Mextar said quietly, "perhaps we should evacuate." Jexal wanted to argue, but another gust of poisonous wind made him cough blood into his mask. This world was worthless without the humans who knew how to live on it. Meanwhile, in the Council's central space lanes, traffic controller Vorkas was losing his mind. Ships were colliding every few hours. Trade routes that had been safe for centuries were now death traps. "Where are the navigation beacons?" demanded Captain Mordax of a Centauri freighter. His ship hung dead in space, its navigation systems confused and useless. "Unknown," Vorkus replied through gritted teeth. "The humans maintained all beacon systems. When they left, the beacons stopped updating." "What do you mean, stopped updating?" Vorkus pulled up a star chart on his screen. Half the routes were marked in red, dangerous or impassable. "The beacons need constant updates. Star positions change. Solar winds shift navigation routes. Gravity fields fluctuate. The humans had teams that monitored all of this and updated." "The beacon network every 6 hours? Every 6 hours?" Mordax sounded shocked. "Every 6 hours for 300 years, Vorkus confirmed. "We thought it was automatic. It turns out it was just humans working around the clock to keep us all alive." As if to prove his point, another collision alarm sounded. 2 ships had tried to use the same hyperspace lane at the same time. Without human traffic controllers to coordinate movement, it was becoming common. "Vorkus," came another voice over the radio. "This is Captain Zelnoth. My ship's navigation computer is showing impossible readings. According to this, I am flying through the middle of a star." Vorkus closed his eyes. "Captain, the star charts are 3 weeks out of date. Your computer is showing you where that star was 3 weeks ago, not where it is now." "Then where is it now?" "I have no idea." The military situation was even worse. General Korthak of the Council Defense Force stood in his command center, staring at reports of fleet-wide mechanical failures. "Sir," reported Technical Officer Yusmel, 60% of our ships are experiencing critical system failures." "What kind of failures?" "All kinds, sir. Engine problems, weapon malfunctions, life support issues, computer crashes." Yusmel looked confused and frightened. "Sir, it is like our entire fleet is falling apart at once." Korthak frowned. "These ships were working fine 3 weeks ago." "Yes, sir. But..." Yusmel hesitated. "But what?" "Sir, our records show that Chief Maintenance Officer Cho-Un and her human technical teams performed routine maintenance on 78% of our active fleet." "Routine maintenance?" "Daily maintenance, sir. Apparently, these ships require constant care to function properly. Small adjustments, system updates, part replacements. The humans did it so smoothly that we never noticed." Korthak felt a cold weight in his stomach. "Are you telling me that our entire military depends on human mechanics?" "Depended, sir." Past tense. Another alarm sounded. The battleship Domination was reporting complete engine failure. The crew was abandoning ship before it drifted into a nearby asteroid field. Back on Nexus Prime, analyst Wexter was compiling the most frightening report in Council history. The truth was worse than anyone had imagined. "Chancellor," he said as he entered Vextai's chamber, "I have completed the analysis you requested." Vextai looked up from his desk, which was covered with crisis reports. "Tell me how bad it is." Wexter activated his holographic display. "Sir, humans were involved in every major system that keeps our civilization running." Images appeared in the air. Power plants, food distribution centers, medical facilities, transportation hubs. Dr. Nam Ho designed the agricultural distribution networks that feed 200 billion beings across Council space. Without his systems, planets are already reporting food shortages. A new image appeared. Engineer Anbora maintained the power grid integration systems for 47 major worlds. Without her oversight, we are experiencing rolling blackouts across 3 sectors. Another image. Medic Ryu Jun created the disease prevention protocols that have prevented galactic pandemics for the past century. Without his monitoring systems, we cannot track disease outbreaks or coordinate medical responses. Vextai's crystal form was barely glowing now. How did we not know this? "Sir, the humans made it look easy. They solved problems before we knew problems existed. They maintained systems so well that we thought the systems maintained themselves." Wexter paused. "They were invisible until they were gone." More reports came in throughout the day. Food riots on 3 worlds as distribution systems failed. Power outages affecting billions of beings. Communication networks crashing without human technicians to maintain them. "Counselor, Thais burst into the chamber, her insect form clicking with agitation. Chancellor, we must contact the humans immediately, offer them anything they want. Full council membership, territory, money. And why would they accept? Asked Councillor Hess, swirling nervously in his containment field. We called them property. We told them they had no rights. Why would they help us now? Before anyone could answer, an aide rushed in with a message pad. Chancellor, urgent communication from the Independent Defense Fleet. Vextai took the pad with trembling hands. On the screen appeared a human woman in a crisp military uniform. Her name tag read Admiral Song Maya. Chancellor Vextai, she said in a calm, professional voice. I am Admiral Song Maya of the Human Independent Fleet. I understand you are experiencing some difficulties. Admiral, Vextai said quickly, we are prepared to negotiate. Chancellor, Admiral Song Maya interrupted gently. I think you misunderstand the situation. Behind her, the view shifted to show a massive human fleet. Hundreds of ships, many of them designs the Council had never seen before. You see, Chancellor, you made an assumption. You assumed humans needed Council space to survive. You assumed we needed your protection, your resources, your permission. She smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. You were wrong. The image shifted again, showing thriving human colonies on worlds the Council had never seen. Clean cities, green farms, happy families. We have been building our own worlds while serving in yours. We have our own resources, our own technology, our own trade networks. Admiral Song Maya leaned forward. What you are discovering now is not that humans need the Council. You are discovering that the Council needs humans. But surely we can reach an agreement, Thais began. Can we? Admiral Song Maya's voice turned, cold. 3 weeks ago, you told us we were property. You said we had no rights. You demanded we surrender our home to raiders as payment for defending ourselves. She paused. What has changed, Councillor Thiss? Other than your circumstances, the transmission showed one more image. Data files. Thousands of them. We have detailed records of every Council military installation, every trade route, every political secret, every technological weakness accumulated over 300 years of faithful service. Admiral Song Maya's smile was now predatory. We know where every Council ship is built, how every Council weapon works, and where every Council leader sleeps at night. The transmission ended. In the silence that followed, the reality of their situation finally hit the Council members. They had not just lost their servants, they had lost the people who knew all their secrets. What do we do now? Whispered Thiss. Vextai looked around at his fellow Council members, proud ancient beings who had ruled the galaxy for millennia. Now they sat in darkness as power grids failed, breathing recycled air as life support systems broke down, surrounded by broken machines they did not know how to fix. I do not know, he admitted. For the first time in 300 years, the Council had no humans to solve their problems for them. 2 months after the humans left, the Council's galaxy was dying. Vextai sat in his dark office, trying to work by the light of emergency power cells. The main power grid had failed yesterday. Nobody knew how to fix it. A soft chime announced. A visitor. Analyst Wexter entered, carrying a thick data pad and looking like he had not slept in weeks. Chancellor, Wexter said quietly, I have finished the complete analysis of human involvement in Council operations. Vextai looked up from his pile of crisis reports. Each one brought news of another system failing, another world in trouble, another problem that nobody could solve. Tell me, Vextai said. Tell me exactly what we have lost. Wexter activated his display. The hologram showed a 3-dimensional map of Council space, but something was wrong with it. Huge sections were dark or flashing red. Dr. Nam Ho, Wexter, was the head of agricultural distribution for the entire Council. For 60 years, he designed and managed the food transportation networks that feed our civilization. The hologram zoomed in on a dark sector. Without his management, food shipments are not reaching their destinations. 17 worlds are reporting severe shortages. 4 worlds are experiencing famine. Vextai felt sick. How many people? 8 billion beings are at risk of starvation within the next month, sir. The display shifted to show power grids across the galaxy. Most were dark. Engineer On Bora maintained power distribution for 47 major worlds and 32 space stations. Her systems automatically balanced power loads, rerouted energy during emergencies, and prevented cascade failures. And now the grids are overloading and shutting down. We have lost primary power to 12 worlds completely. Others are experiencing rolling blackouts lasting days at a time. Vexter continued through his list. Each name was another disaster. Medics. Ryujun created our epidemic prevention network. Without his monitoring systems, we cannot track disease outbreaks. Yesterday, we lost contact with a research station. When we finally reached them, everyone was dead from a virus that should have been contained easily. Engineer Park Jun managed our waste processing systems. Without proper waste management, 3 worlds are becoming uninhabitable due to toxic buildup. Technician Lee Na maintained our communication satellites. Long-range communications are failing across the galaxy. Some sectors have been out of contact for days. The list went on and on. Every critical system in Council civilization had human fingerprints on it. And all of those humans were gone. How did we not see this? Vexatai asked. Because they made it invisible, sir. They solved problems before we knew problems existed. They prevented disasters so effectively that we thought disasters were impossible. Wexter paused. We thought the galaxy ran itself. We never realized it was just humans. Working quietly in the background, a new alarm sounded. Another crisis demanding attention that nobody knew how to handle. But the worst news was yet to come. Counselor Thys entered the chamber in a panic, her insect limbs clicking frantically. Chancellor, we have tried to force human compliance. It has gone very badly. What do you mean? General Morkex took a fleet to the human colony at Alpha Centauri. He demanded they return to Council space or face consequences. Vextor and Vextai exchanged worried looks. And the human response was educational. Thys activated her own holographic display. It showed the smoking remains of General Morkex's flagship. They destroyed our fleet? Vextai gasped. Worse, Thys said. They did not fire a single shot. The hologram showed the battle from the human perspective. Council ships approached. The human colony, weapons powered and ready for fight. Then something impossible happened. The Council ships simply stopped working. Their weapons systems failed, Thys explained. Their engines shut down. Their life support went to minimum power. Their navigation computers crashed. In 30 seconds, our entire fleet was helpless. How? The humans sent them a message. Thys said. She played an audio recording. A calm human voice filled the chamber. Council vessels, this is Defense Coordinator Kim Min of the Alpha Centauri Defense Force. You are now experiencing what we call aggressive technical support. Your ships were built using human-designed components, human-written software, and human-developed protocols. We know every system, every weakness, every backdoor. Stand down immediately, or we will demonstrate additional features of your ships that you were not aware existed. The recording continued. As a gesture of goodwill, we will restore minimal life support and basic navigation so you can return home. Do not attempt to approach human space again. Vextai stared at the hologram. They can control our ships remotely? Apparently, Thys said. General Morkex reports that his fleet limped home with engines running at 10% power and no weapons. The humans could have destroyed them easily. Instead, they sent them back as a message. The implications were terrifying. Every ship in the Council fleet used human technology. Every weapon, every system, every critical component had been built or designed by humans over 3 centuries of faithful service. There is more, Thys said reluctantly. More? Intelligence reports suggest that the humans have formed some kind of alliance with species we had overlooked. Wexter brought up another display. This one showed star maps with new territorial boundaries marked in blue. The Independent Worlds Alliance, he read. 47 species that were not Council members. Many of them were species we considered too primitive or too weak to be worth including. And now? Now they have human technology, human knowledge, and human protection. Wextor highlighted several systems. Combined, they control more territory than the Council, and they are growing. Vextai studied the map. Many of the Alliance species were ones the Council had ignored or exploited. Mining worlds where the Council had taken resources but given nothing back. Agricultural planets that had fed council worlds but received no representation. Border worlds that had defended council space but were denied membership. They are not just taking our humans, he realized. They are taking everyone we wronged. It gets worse, Tess said. We intercepted a transmission from Ambassador Kang Wu. He is now the Alliance's chief diplomat. Listen to this. Another recording played. To all species currently under council rule, you do not have to stay. The Independent Worlds Alliance offers membership to any species that desires freedom from council domination. We offer trade partnerships, mutual, defense agreements, and technology sharing. Most importantly, we offer equality. Equality, Vextai repeated bitterly. Sir, Wexter said softly. 12 species have already declared independence from the Council and joined the Alliance. More are expected to follow. The chamber fell silent. The Council had ruled the galaxy for millennia through strength and intimidation. But now their strength was gone, and their former subjects were walking away. What do they want? Vextai asked finally. Unknown, sir. They have refused all attempts at communication. Have we tried offering them better terms? Full membership? Equal representation? Sir, Thais said gently, what makes you think they want to be part of the Council at all anymore? Through the chamber's windows, Vextai could see the lights of Nexus Prime flickering as the power grid struggled. In the distance, smoke rose from a food distribution center that had caught fire. Nobody knew how to put it out properly. They built a better civilization while living in ours, he said quietly. And now, they have left us with the ruins. Sir, Wexter said, there is one more thing. Admiral Song Maya sent a message directly to you. Vextai looked up. Play it. The hologram showed the human admiral in her crisp uniform. Behind her, Vextai could see the bridge of a ship that looked more advanced than anything in the Council fleet. Chancellor Vextai, Admiral Song Maya said, by now you understand your situation. Your civilization is collapsing because it was built on the labor of beings you considered inferior. You called us servants, but we were the foundation of everything you had. She paused, her expression calm but cold. You have two choices. Continue trying to maintain your empire as it crumbles around you, or accept that the age of council dominance is over. She leaned forward. Choose quickly, Chancellor. Every day you wait, more worlds join the Alliance. Every day you wait, more of your people suffer from your pride. The message ended. Vextai sat in the growing darkness of his chamber, listening to the sounds of his dying civilization. Alarms, explosions, the cries of people who did not understand why their world was falling apart. He had thought humans were servants. It turned out they had been the masters all along. They had just been too polite to mention it. Now politeness was over. 6 months after the humans left, Chancellor Vextai stood in what used to be the Council's grand chamber. Half the lights were broken. The air recycling system made grinding noises. The beautiful floating platforms where council members once sat in dignity were now held up by emergency supports. The galaxy was dying. Food riots had broken out on 18 worlds. 37 star systems had lost all power. Communication with the outer territories had been cut for weeks. Worse, 16 more species had declared independence and joined the human alliance. Sir, Analyst Wextor said as he entered with his daily report, we have lost contact with the Rigel sector entirely. Vextai did not look up from his desk. How many is that now? 43 sectors have either lost communications or declared independence, sir. At current rates, we will lose effective control of our territory within 2 months. And our military? Down to 30% operational capacity. Most ships are grounded for lack of maintenance. The crews that remain are demoralized and frightened. Vextai finally looked up. His crystal form, once bright and commanding, was now dim and cracked. Send Emissary Drelka to make contact with the humans. Sir, they have refused all previous attempts at communication. Then he will keep trying until they listen. 3 days later, Emissary Drelka's ship limped into the New Harmony system. The human colony world that greeted him was like nothing he had ever seen. Clean cities sparkled under twin suns. Green parks and gardens covered the landscape. Ships moved in perfect coordination through busy space lanes. It looked like paradise. Human vessels. Drelka transmitted. "This is Emissary Drelka of the Galactic Council. I request permission to land and speak with your leadership." The response came from a calm, human voice. "Emissary Drelka, you are cleared to land at Port Authority 7. Governor Lim Su will see you in 1 hour." Governor Lim Su was a middle-aged human woman with gray hair and kind eyes. She met Drelka in a simple office that looked out over a city filled with beings from dozens of species, all living and working together in harmony. "Governor," Drelka began, "I come with an offer from the council." "I am listening," Lim Su said politely. "We are prepared to offer humans full council membership, equal representation, voting rights, territorial sovereignty over all human colonies." Drelka leaned forward desperately. "Name your terms. We will meet them." Lim Su was quiet for a long moment, looking out her window at the peaceful city below. "Emissary Drelka," she said finally, "what makes you think we want council membership?" The question hit Drelka like a physical blow. The council offers prestige, power, access to galactic trade." "We have trade," Lim Su said simply, "with 47 species in our alliance, plus 12 more who have joined since your council began collapsing. As for prestige and power..." She gestured to the view outside. "Look around you. Do we seem lacking in either?" Drelka looked. Through the window, he could see humans working alongside crystalline beings from Nexus Prime. Not Vexti's people, but crystal beings from another world entirely. Insectoid creatures that looked like Mantari, but friendlier. Gas beings that might have been related to nebuloids. "Those are council species," he said in confusion. "Those are former council species," Lim Su corrected. "People who left the council to join something better, but the council has maintained order in the galaxy for millennia." Lim Su's kind eyes grew sad. "Emissary, you maintained control. Order is different. Order means everyone benefits. Control means only the controllers benefit." She activated a holographic display showing both Council space and Alliance territory. The contrast was stark. Alliance worlds glowed with activity and prosperity. Council worlds were dark, struggling, many showing signs of system failures. "Your council kept order through fear and force," she continued. "We maintain order through cooperation and mutual benefit. Which looks more stable to you?" Drelka stared at the display. The Alliance territory was larger than Council space now, and growing every day. "What do you want from us?" he asked quietly. "Nothing," Lim Su said. "We want nothing from the Council, but surely there must be something. Some arrangement we can make." Lim Su stood up and walked to her window. Below, children of many species played together in a park, while their parents worked in buildings designed by the best architects from across the galaxy. "6 months ago, your council told us we were property, that we existed to serve your pleasure, that we had no rights you were bound to respect." She turned back to Drelka. "What has changed, Emissary? Other than your need?" We made mistakes. We see that now. Do you? Or do you just see the consequences?" Before Drelka could answer, an aide entered the office. "Governor Ambassador, Kang Wu has arrived for the Alliance Council meeting." Drelka recognized the name, the human who had started this whole crisis by walking out of the council chamber. Kang Wu entered a moment later, wearing the simple blue uniform of the Alliance Diplomatic Corps. He looked healthier than Drelka remembered. Happier. "Emissary." "Drelka," Kang Wu said with a polite nod. "I understand you have brought an offer from Chancellor Vexti." "Full council membership," Drelka said quickly. "Equal representation. Anything you want." Kang Wu sat down across from him. "And in return?" "Come back. Help us rebuild. Save the galaxy from chaos." "Emissary," Kang Wu said gently, "the galaxy is not in chaos. Parts of it are failing, yes, but other parts are thriving." He gestured toward the window. "The Alliance grows stronger every day. Trade is flourishing. Former Council worlds are joining us because we offer them something the Council never did." "Which is?" "Dignity." The word hung in the air between them. "We do not need the Council's permission to exist," Kang Wu continued. "We do not need the Council's protection. We have our own. We do not need the Council's resources. We have developed our own. The question is not what we can do for the Council. The question is what the Council can do for itself. What do you mean? I mean the age of galactic empires is over, emissary. The age of cooperation has begun. Your Council can choose to be part of that future, or it can continue trying to maintain a past that no longer exists. Drelka felt desperate. But billions of beings depend on the Council. They need the services you provided. And they will continue to receive those services, Kang Wu said. From the Alliance, we are already sending aid to former Council worlds, food shipments, medical supplies, technical assistance. He paused. We do not let people suffer because their leaders made poor choices. Then why not just rejoin the Council? If you want to help, come back and fix things. Lim Su answered this time. Because the Council cannot be fixed, emissary. It is built on the idea that some species are better than others, that some beings deserve to rule while others deserve to serve. She shook her head. That foundation is rotten. You cannot build a good future on a rotten foundation. So what happens now? Kong. Wu stood up. Now you go back to Chancellor Vexitai with a message. The Alliance offers humanitarian aid to any Council world that needs it. No strings attached. No political conditions. We will help because helping is the right thing to do. And the Council itself can continue to exist as long as it wants. We will not attack it or try to destroy it, but we will not support it either. The Council must prove it deserves to exist by serving its people, not ruling them. Drelka felt the weight of failure settling on him. The Chancellor will not accept this. Then the Chancellor will continue to preside over a shrinking empire until there is nothing left to preside over. Kang Wu's voice was kind, but firm. That is his choice. As Drelka's ship left New Harmony, he looked back at the thriving world below. Happy beings living in harmony. Advanced technology serving everyone's needs. A civilization built on cooperation, instead of domination. It was everything the Council claimed to be, but never was. When he returned to Nexus Prime, he found the Council chamber even darker than before. Emergency lights cast eerie shadows on the walls. The air was stale and recycled too many times. Well? Vexitai asked from his damaged platform. They refused, sir. What did they want? More territory? Better trade terms? Drelka shook his head. They wanted nothing, sir. They need nothing from us. They have built something better. In the growing darkness of the failing Council chamber, Vexitai finally understood the truth. The humans had not stolen his empire. They had simply built a better one and invited everyone to join them, and almost everyone was saying yes. 1 year after the humans walked away, Chancellor Vexitai stood at the window of his failing palace, watching the last Council transport ships leave Nexus Prime. The great capital world that had ruled the galaxy for millennia was nearly empty. Now, behind him, the few remaining Council members sat in emergency lighting. Councillor Thys clicked nervously. Councillor Hess swirled in agitation. Admiral Zekmore slumped in defeat. They were all that remained of an empire that had once controlled 1,000 worlds. Sir, Analyst Wexter said quietly, the Independence movement has reached the core worlds. Even Draconia and Mantaris are considering joining the Alliance. Vexitai did not turn around. How many worlds do we still control? 17, sir. Down from over 400 last year. And our military? 3 ships, sir. All requiring maintenance we cannot provide. Through his window, Vexitai could see Alliance ships in orbit, not warships. Cargo vessels bringing food and medical supplies to the refugees still on Nexus Prime. The humans were feeding his people even as his empire collapsed. Sir, Thys said softly, perhaps it is time to consider President Han Sol's offer. President Han Sol, the leader of the Alliance who had replaced their council system with something called the Galactic Federation, a government where every species had an equal voice, where leaders were chosen by merit instead of birth, where cooperation replaced domination. Bring me the communication array, Vexitai said finally. 2 hours later, a small Alliance shuttle landed in the palace courtyard. It carried President Han Sol, a young human woman with intelligent eyes and a kind smile. She wore a simple uniform with no symbols of rank or power. Chancellor Vexitai, she said with a respectful bow. Thank You for agreeing to meet. Vextai gestured to the crumbling throne room around them. As you can see, my options are limited. Your situation is difficult, Han Sol agreed, but not hopeless. What are you offering? The same thing we offer everyone. Membership in the Galactic Federation as an equal partner. Equal? Thais buzzed. But we ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. And now you do not, Han Sol said simply. The question is what you want to do next. She activated a holographic display showing the current state of the galaxy. Most systems now glowed with the blue of Federation membership. Only a handful of red dots remained to mark the failing Council territories. The Federation offers all species the same basic rights, Han Sol explained. Representation based on population, freedom to govern your own worlds as you choose, protection from aggression, access to trade networks and technology sharing. And, in return? Vextai asked. You follow the same rules as everyone else. No slavery, no forced labor, no conquest of other worlds without their consent. She looked directly at him. No more calling other beings property. The words stung, but Vextai could not argue with them. What about punishment for our past actions? Admiral Zekmor asked. What about justice for those we wronged? The Federation believes in moving forward, not seeking revenge, Han Sol replied. However, worlds that suffered under Council rule will have the right to request reparations through Federation courts. Reparations? If the Federation courts find that the Council caused unjust harm, you may be required to provide compensation, labor, resources, technology, whatever the courts decide is fair. Vextai considered this. It was better than destruction, but it would mean accepting responsibility for millennia of injustice. And if we refuse your offer, then you continue as you are. Han Sol gestured to the darkened palace around them. The Federation will not attack you or force you to join. But we will not support you either. Your remaining worlds are free to join the Federation individually whenever they choose. Which they will, Thais said bitterly. Probably, Han Sol agreed. People tend to choose hope over despair when given the option. Vextai walked to his window again. In the distance, he could see Alliance workers repairing the power grid that had failed months ago. They worked alongside local beings, teaching them how to maintain the systems instead of just fixing them and leaving. Why? He asked. Why help us at all after what we did to you? Because leaving people to suffer is wrong, Han Sol said simply. Even people who wronged us. The humans could have destroyed us completely. Your Admiral Song Maya demonstrated that our fleets were helpless against you. Yes, we could have destroyed you, but destruction creates more problems than it solves. It leaves behind hatred, fear, and instability. She joined him at the window. We chose to build something better instead. A galaxy without empires. A galaxy where empires are unnecessary because everyone benefits from cooperation. Vextai was quiet for a long moment. Around him, his former counselors waited for his decision. The choice that would determine the fate of their species. What guarantee do we have that humans will not simply become the new rulers? He asked finally. None, Han Sol said honestly. Except our track record. In the year since the Federation formed, how many worlds have we conquered? How many species have we enslaved? How many beings have we called property? None, Vextai admitted. The Federation has no supreme leader, no ruling species, no dominant class. Every major decision requires approval from the Federation Council, where every member species has a voice proportional to their population. She smiled. Humans are actually a minority in the Federation. We are outnumbered by the combined populations of our member species. Then who truly rules? Everyone. And no one. Power is shared, not hoarded. 3 hours later, Vextai stood in the same chamber where he had once dismissed humans as property. Now that chamber was filled with representatives from across the galaxy, all there to witness the signing of the Articles of Dissolution. With shaking hands, he signed the document that formally ended the Galactic Council and transferred its remaining territories to the Federation. The Council is dead, he said quietly. Long live the Federation. President Han Sol took the pen next, signing the Federation Charter that would govern the new Galactic Order. Welcome to the Federation, former Chancellor Vextai. Your species will have representation in the council within 30 days. What will happen to us? Theiss asked. That depends on you, Hansel replied. The Federation offers education, job training, resettlement assistance. Some former council officials have chosen to serve the Federation in advisory roles. Others have returned to their homeworlds to help rebuild. A few have chosen to retire quietly. And you? What happens to the humans now that you have won? Saul looked surprised. Won? We did not win anything. We just left a situation that was not working and built something better. You rule the galaxy now. We serve the galaxy now. There is a difference. As the ceremony concluded, Vextai found himself standing next to Admiral Song Maya, the human military leader who had once terrified him. Admiral, he said hesitantly, I owe you an apology. You owe many people apologies, she replied calmly. But I accept yours. What will you do now that there are no more wars to fight? Song Maya smiled. The same thing human military has always done when not fighting wars. We build things, schools, hospitals, roads, spaceports. She gestured to the busy reconstruction, work visible through the windows. There is always something that needs building. And if someone threatens the Federation, then we will defend it. But our goal is to make that unnecessary by ensuring everyone benefits from peace. 1 month later, Vextai stood in the Federation Council chamber on the neutral world of Freedom's Edge. The chamber was designed very differently from the old council building. Instead of elevated platforms that put some species above others, everyone sat at the same level. Instead of assigned seats based on power, representatives sat wherever they chose. It was chaos. It was democracy. It was working. President, Hansel called the session to order. Today we vote on the proposal from the Zephyrian representative to establish new trade routes through the former council territories. The Zephyrians, the same species that had once raided human colonies. Now they were proposing trade routes that would benefit everyone. The proposal has been reviewed by the Trade Committee and approved with modifications, continued Captain Li Bin, who now served as Federation Trade Coordinator. All affected worlds have given consent. Economic projections show benefits for all participants. The vote was unanimous. After the session, Vextai found himself walking through the gardens of Freedom's Edge with teacher Park Hyun, a human who ran the integration schools that helped new Federation members adjust to democratic government. It is strange, Vextai admitted. A year ago, I commanded 1,000 worlds. Now I am one voice among hundreds. Yet I feel more useful. That is because you are serving instead of ruling, Park Hyun explained. Rulers take from their subjects, servants give to their community. They paused beside a playground where children from dozens of species played together. Human children laughed with young draconians. Mantari larvae raced with nebuloid cloudlings. Former enemies building friendship through their children. Teacher Park Hyun, Vextai said, do you think this will last? This peace? Nothing lasts forever, she replied honestly. But we have built something stronger than peace. We have built justice. We have built cooperation. We have built hope. She watched the children play. As long as beings choose to work together instead of dominating each other, this will continue. A